The Madden Curse, the most famous curse in sports video games. The Madden Curse is a phenomenon, or superstition, that suggests any player who appears on the cover of the annual EA Sports Madden NFL video game is destined to have a disastrous or injury-plagued season. This curse is the most well-known in football folklore, and for nearly 2 decades, it seemed to have an uncanny ability to predict misfortune. The curse began in 1999 when Garrison Hearst, after a phenomenal 1,570-yard season, graced the cover. In the playoffs that same year, he suffered a gruesome ankle break that sidelined him for 2 full seasons. The following year, Barry Sanders was chosen for the cover, only to abruptly and shockingly retire from the NFL before the season began. The curse continued with a chilling consistency. Dante Culpepper, after a 40-touchdown season, suffered a season-ending knee injury in 2001. Michael Vick broke his fibula in the 2004 preseason. Donovan McNabb suffered a sports hernia in 2005. Sean Alexander, after a record-breaking 28-touchdown MVP season, broke his foot in 2006. The list goes on and on, a veritable who's who of NFL superstars who fell victim to injury or a dramatic decline in performance immediately after their cover appearance. While some players, like Calvin Johnson in 2013, seem to defy the curse with record-breaking seasons, the sheer volume of players who have suffered misfortune is what gives the curse its power. Skeptics argue that the curse is simply a matter of statistical probability and regression to the mean. A player has to have an extraordinary season to be chosen for the Madden cover, and it is statistically likely that their performance will regress to a more normal level the following year. Furthermore, players who have career years are often at a higher risk of injury due to the increased workload. Whether it's a true supernatural phenomenon or a statistical inevitability, the Madden Curse has become a deeply ingrained part of NFL culture, a cautionary tale that every player who is chosen for the cover must confront. The Curse of Bobby Lane, the Lions' 50-year drought. The Curse of Bobby Lane is one of the oldest and most specific curses in the NFL, and it is used to explain the Detroit Lions' decades of futility. In 1958, the Lions traded their star quarterback, Bobby Lane, to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Lane was the leader of a Lions team that had won 3 NFL championships in the 1950s, and he was not happy about the trade. As the story goes, upon his departure, a bitter Lane declared that the Lions would not win for 50 years. What followed was a half-century of struggle that seemed to give credence to Lane's curse. The Lions, who had been a powerhouse in the 50s, immediately fell into mediocrity. They would not win another playoff game until 1991, and they have never appeared in a Super Bowl. The 50-year period of the curse, from 1958 to 2008, was marked by losing seasons, front office dysfunction, and a seemingly endless string of heartbreaking losses. The curse reached its symbolic peak in 2008, the 50th and final year of Lane's supposed hex, when the Lions became the first team in NFL history to finish a season with a 0-16 record. While the curse officially ended in 2008, the Lions' struggles have largely continued, leading some to believe that the curse's effects still linger. The Curse of Bobby Lane is more than just a superstition. It is a narrative that has defined the identity of a franchise, a story of a team that fell from grace and has been wandering in the wilderness ever since, all because of the bitter words of a spurned quarterback. The Sports Illustrated cover jinx, the curse of the magazine. The Sports Illustrated cover jinx is a superstition that is not limited to the NFL, but it has claimed many football victims. The jinx suggests that any athlete or team who appears on the cover of Sports Illustrated is doomed to suffer a decline in performance, an injury, or a loss in their next game. The curse is similar to the Madden Curse in that it often targets athletes at the peak of their success. The logic behind the jinx is that the cover of Sports Illustrated is a recognition of a recent, extraordinary achievement, and it is statistically likely that this peak performance cannot be sustained. The first documented case of the egg jinx in the NFL was in 1955, when quarterback Sid Luckman appeared on the cover, and the Chicago Bears promptly lost their next game. Over the years, countless NFL players and teams have fallen victim to the jinx. A team on a winning streak appears on the cover and then loses its next game. A star player has a career game, gets the cover, and then suffers a season-ending injury. The jinx has become so well known that some athletes have reportedly refused to be on the cover. While many dismiss the jinx as a coincidence, the sheer number of examples has given it a life of its own. It is a classic example of confirmation bias, where people remember the times the jinx came true and forget the times it didn't. But for many fans and players, the Sports Illustrated cover jinx is a very real force, a cautionary tale about the dangers of being at the top of your game and getting a little too much media attention. The Cleveland Browns quarterback curse, the jersey of pain. The Cleveland Browns quarterback curse is a modern curse that began when the team returned to the NFL as an expansion franchise in 1999. Since that time, the Browns have had a seemingly endless and revolving door of starting quarterbacks, a level of instability at the most important position in sports that is almost unbelievable. The curse is visually represented by the infamous quarterback jersey, a fan-made jersey that lists the names of every starting quarterback for the Browns since 1999. The list is shockingly long, featuring over 30 different names, from first-round busts like Tim Couch and Johnny Manziel to journeymen and career backups. The curse is not just about the sheer number of quarterbacks. It's about the consistent failure to find a true franchise leader. The Browns have invested numerous high draft picks in quarterbacks, only to see them fail due to injury, poor performance, or off-field issues. The curse has created a cycle of losing, as the team has been unable to build any sustained success without a stable presence at the quarterback position. While the Browns have had moments of hope, with players like Baker Mayfield leading them to a playoff victory, the curse has always seemed to resurface, with injuries or a decline in play leading to another change at the position. The quarterback curse is a testament to how difficult it is to find a franchise quarterback in the NFL, and a painful reminder for Browns fans of their team's long and frustrating search for a savior. The Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl curse, 4 times a bridesmaid. The Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl curse is a story of repeated heartbreak on the biggest stage in American sports. The Vikings are one of the most successful franchises in NFL history in terms of regular season wins, but they are 0-4 in the Super Bowl. And the nature of those losses has created the sense that the team is cursed. The Vikings appeared in 4 of the first 11 Super Bowls, and they were favored in some of those games, but they lost all 4, often in convincing fashion. The curse, however, extends beyond just the Super Bowl losses. It encompasses a long and painful history of devastating playoff defeats. In 1998, the Vikings had one of the most dominant offensive teams in NFL history, going 15-1 in the regular season. They were heavy favorites in the NFC Championship game, but their kicker, Gary Anderson, who had not missed a single kick all season, missed a crucial field goal that would have sealed the victory. The Vikings went on to lose in overtime. In 2009, with Brett Favre at quarterback, the Vikings were on the verge of another Super Bowl appearance, but Favre threw a costly interception late in the NFC Championship game, and they once again lost in overtime. These are just 2 examples of a long pattern of playoff collapses and heartbreaking moments that have defined the Vikings franchise history. The curse is about more than just losing. It's about the hope and the inevitable, soul-crushing disappointment that has become a part of the Vikings' identity. The number 1 overall draft pick curse, the busts that sink franchises. The number 1 overall draft pick curse is a general NFL curse that speaks to the immense pressure and high rate of failure associated with being the top pick in the NFL draft. The player selected first overall is expected to be a franchise-changing talent, a savior who will lead their team to the promised land. But for every Peyton Manning or John Elway, there is a Jamarcus Russell or a Ryan Leaf, a player who crumbles under the weight of expectations and becomes one of the biggest busts in sports history. The curse is not just about the player's failure. It's about the devastating impact that a bust can have on a franchise. A team that uses the number 1 pick on a player who fails to pan out is set back for years. They not only miss out on a potential superstar, but they also waste a massive financial investment and the opportunity to select other, more successful players. Jamarcus Russell, the #1 pick in 2007, is often cited as the poster child for this curse. He was given a massive contract before ever playing a down in the NFL, and he was out of the league within 3 years due to poor performance and a lack of work ethic. Ryan Leaf, the #1 pick in 1998, had a similar story, with his on-field struggles being compounded by a poor attitude and off-field problems. The #1 overall draft pick curse is a cautionary tale about the inexact science of player evaluation and the immense risk involved in placing the hopes of an entire franchise on the shoulders of a single, unproven player. The San Diego-Los Angeles Chargers curse, a legacy of heartbreak. The Chargers curse is a long-running narrative that follows the franchise from its days in San Diego to its current home in Los Angeles. It is a curse defined by a consistent and often unbelievable pattern of finding new and creative ways to lose important games. The curse is not tied to a single event or a specific player. It is a chronic condition of bad luck, untimely mistakes, and a general inability to win the big one. The Chargers have had some of the most talented rosters in NFL history, with Hall of Fame players like Dan Fouts, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Phillip Rivers, but they have consistently fallen short in the playoffs, often in heartbreaking fashion. The curse manifests in various ways: special teams blunders, costly turnovers at the worst possible moments, and a defense that seems to give up game-winning drives with alarming regularity. The 2006 season is a perfect example of the Chargers curse. The team went 14-2 in the regular season and was the #1 seed in the AFC, but they lost their first playoff game at home after a series of improbable mistakes, including a fumble on a punt return with the game on the line. The curse has followed the team to Los Angeles, where they have continued to find new and agonizing ways to lose close games. The Chargers curse is a story of a franchise that has been perpetually on the verge of greatness, only to have it snatched away by a cruel twist of fate or a self-inflicted wound. The Arizona Cardinals championship drought, the longest curse in North American sports. The Arizona Cardinals are the holders of the longest active championship drought in all of North American professional sports. Their last title came in 1947, when they were the Chicago Cardinals. This incredible stretch of futility has spanned 3 different cities: Chicago, St. Louis, and now Arizona, and it has earned the franchise a reputation for being cursed. The curse is not about a single moment or a specific hex. It is about the sheer weight of history and the consistent inability to reach the pinnacle of the sport. The Cardinals have had moments of hope. In 2008, led by quarterback Kurt Warner, they made a miraculous run to the Super Bowl, only to lose in the final seconds to the Pittsburgh Steelers in one of the most dramatic finishes in Super Bowl history. That loss seemed to confirm the existence of the curse, as the team was so close to breaking it, only to have it slip through their fingers. The curse is about more than just the lack of a championship. It's about the franchise's long history of being an afterthought in the NFL, a team that has often struggled for relevance. The Cardinals' drought is a testament to how difficult it is to win a championship in the NFL, and a symbol of the hope that every fan base holds on to, the hope that one day the curse will finally be broken.